All right, and we are back. And ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor to sit down with my friend and legend, Jasmine Nichols, on the podcast tonight. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Listen, the honor is absolutely all mine. And listen, we have a lot to talk about. I've been thinking about this all day. Well, more since me and you reached out together, I've been super excited to have you on. I always like to get a different perspective of all my friends that come on because everybody's got their own perspective. But I always start this off, as I always do with everybody. Where'd your journey begin on those beautiful twos?
So mine was somewhat pure chance. Just my dad was sitting in the kitchen one day. I think I was 10 years old. I happened to walk in. I heard him listening to a video, sounded like something, I don't know what, but he was kind of giggling to himself at it. So I was curious. So I went around to the side, and when I looked at the screen, it was kids racing pocket bikes somewhere in Europe, but his friend had sent it to him because he thought it was funny that they had huge helmets and they looked like little bobbleheads. So they just thought it was funny. Um, but I saw it and I saw the little, like, how you get their full body pictures and they're like crossing their arms, but they're like 7 or 8 years old or however old they were. They're little. And to me, it's the coolest thing ever. I just imagine like, whoa, what if it was my picture up there? So watch the whole thing, and Dad jokingly was kind of like, "Would you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, that sounds cool." And so he's like, "Okay, I'll talk to Mom about it." And so it took a few months. He could probably tell the story better than I could. I'm remembering from when I was 10, but it took a few months of kind of consistently asking and seeing, have you talked to Mom yet? And eventually I think he did almost right off the bat, but they wanted to see if I would still be interested in it. Just because, kids, we say, let's go do this. And 3 days later, I forget it existed.
Shoot, my son's 30 seconds later. Well, not 30 seconds, but a couple minutes. He's like, you know what? Scratch that. Let's go do this. And I'm like, okay, and I give it a couple minutes. I'm like, he'll change his mind again. Watch. So,
For sure. So yeah, then just went and saw a bike, I believe. So the way I remember it is on my 11th birthday, woke up early, and we went to go see the bike that would potentially be mine. It was a KO 125. And the guy, my dad's friend who had sent them the video, his son was also going to get into racing. And the person we were going to go see with the bikes, they actually had two of those bikes. So we got in the car together and we drove a few hours to go see these bikes, and I thought it was super cool. I mean, these are they're not pocket bikes, but they're a little bigger than that. Maybe a little bigger than like an Ovali. But I love them. I don't think we got them that day. I believe a few days or maybe a couple weeks later. And the first time I actually threw a leg over was January 27th, when I was 11 years old, which would have been, I don't know, whatever math is.
look at you remembering the exact day and time. You're like over the first. I love it. I love it. It's awesome.
For sure. Yeah, it was fun. On the 27th, I think that was the first day I actually started rolling on the bike. But all of the days prior, my dad's like, "No, you're gonna learn how to use the clutch first, and what does the bike actually do before we make you start moving?" So we just sat in the driveway. I was on the bike, and he just kind of showed me friction points and um, make sure not to rev up the gas and just slowly release the clutch, basically letting me stall it just so I can get a feel for it. And we would consistently do this for a couple of days, until I would roll forward, and then he'd stop me, push me back until one day I thought he was gonna catch me, and we started rolling forward, and he started like jogging backwards, and he's like, "Just follow me." So I'm trying to balance on this thing and just following him through the cul-de-sac, and then eventually came to a stop, and that was the first time I actually started rolling on the bike.
And that's where the journey began. I
hmm
love it. So, where does it go from there? How did you get into where you are now in racing?
So from there, from the time I started, trying to get a feel for the bike to time of racing was about 3 months. Did maybe
You just dove right in, right? You're like, let's go.
maybe did a handful of track days just to get the feel for it. I think I crashed a couple of times. I don't think I crashed too many times. We were riding over in Stockton, in California, and I think the reason it wasn't rider, well, it was kind of rider error, but not in the sense of I grabbed too much brake and, fell over. I was going so slow. Like at that track, my best time, I think, um, was a 1 minute and 1 minute 4 seconds was my best time after like several track days, maybe a race. And the fast guys, this is a very short track. They're doing like the slower guys, they're doing like mid 40s. So I'm pretty far behind in a 7 lap race. I got lapped 3 times. My very first race. It wasn't scary. It was actually really cool to see them come by me on the turns like, whoa, they're dragging their knee, forgetting I'm supposed to be racing. These are my um but yeah, so the reason I would crash was just because during the track days, even in the slower groups, people, because it's a tighter track, they'd pass pretty close, but they'd like gun it on the gas, and I wasn't used to it at the time, so it would scare me. I'd roll into the grass going maybe 10 miles per hour as it is, and be like, oh, the brakes is what I need to do. So I'd grab the brakes and very slowly fall over. It was very graceful. I don't know if how many I don't think I broke too many things in the beginning. I eventually lost my grace for crashing. I need to regain it somehow, but um, anyways, yeah. So that was kind of the first time. Um, got a little bit better. By the end of that season, I wasn't getting lapped. I was about half a track behind them by the end of my first season, and that was due to us getting connected with Young Lee with M1GP. So we would travel down to Southern California, Willow Springs, which was about 6 hour drive for us, and we were there a lot. I mean, maybe a few times in a month, like a few weekends, because I had school, so I couldn't just go whenever. Um, but yeah, with his help, by the end of that season, only half a lap behind. So yeah,
Love it.
that was kind of my first year. Um, from there, I did a lot more training on a little CRF 50, just to really hone my skills. And I hated cone drills. I hated them with a passion in the beginning. Part of me in the beginning, I wanted to kind of quit just because I hated the cone drills so much. But I was told this is what's going to make you better if you hone your skills on this. So stuck with it. Eventually got better. Um, and I believe by my second season, I wasn't getting any podiums, I don't think. I think one time I got a third place, and that was due to a pileup that happened on like the last lap of one of the kart tracks. And I happened to be close enough before anyone else can get back on their bikes, and I was able to get third. So, but I still have the medal. I still have the medal, and I still prize it because you gotta finish to win. So that is my third
Facts. Facts, right? And
exactly.
I'm a huge fan of the little bikes, training on little, whether it's a 50 or KLX 110 or whatever it is, because it really hones your skills because the bike's not
Mhm.
meant to do what you're making it do. And it brings so much feel and feedback to what
Oh,
you're doing.
absolutely.
You
And
know,
it
it's,
helps when they're a lot twitchier and you got to learn to control
yeah,
control when it's out of control. So
yeah.
that way when you get on something a little bit more stable, it's so much smoother. It's so much easier to control.
And then when something happens, it's kind of like muscle memory because that's what you're doing, right?
Hmm.
Getting that muscle memory, and you don't react to it harshly. You're like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, I've been here before. Hello, my old friend, and
Exactly.
we're
Yep.
gonna get through this together. Let's go.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's we all remember the very first time we did our first track day. Showed up. I remember I showed up. I tell the story quite often because it's hilarious, right? And people don't know. There's no information really out there, especially back when I did it back in '99.
Hmm.
Um, really information on what you really need to do for a track day. It's water and water wetter and tape up your headlight and tail lights. I was like, okay, cool, I got that, no problem.
Hmm.
I show up and I go to tech and they're like, you don't
Hmm.
have nothing safety wired. And I was like, what a safety
What?
wire.
Like, what do you mean safety
It,
wire?
and they started laughing. They're like, you're new, right? And I'm like, brand new. They're like,
It's like, is it that obvious?
yeah, right. So beautiful paddock, right? First time I
Hmm.
got introduced to people wanting to help out. I rolled my bike
Hmm.
back and I was like, man, they said I got a safety. Like, what are they talking about safety wire and a drill? Like, well, I'm not drilling my bike. What are they talking about? And the
Hmm.
guy was like, hey, man, my name's Eric. blah 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 blah. This is what you need to do, and he helped me do it. And got it
Mhm.
passed, and here we go. But my point being, first track day, the very first time you put on your leather suit, right? We all have those leather suits. We get them when we first get them. They're
Mhm.
uh probably two sizes too big for you, right? And you go to
Mhm.
put them on, and it's like super baggy, and you're like, yeah, I can grow into these, no
Yeah.
problem, right? Or they might be a little tight right here, and you
Mhm.
got to suck it in. You're like, okay, I'm a little less milkshakes, a little bit more
Mhm.
exercise, and right, I'll eventually fit into it, but you don't realize at the
Yeah.
time how it hinders you too, right? As well. But
Mhm.
point being, first track day, never forget the emotions. First time you put on your leather suit, never forget the emotions. And then all you want to do is drag your knee because you get out there and you see everybody
Mhm.
dragging their knee, and you try so hard to do it and you just fail or
Oh.
crash like me.
Mhm.
Okay. And then one day you're just like, I don't even care, whatever. And you go out there, and the next thing you know, you're like, whoa, what was that? Did
Mhm.
did I did I just drug my knee, right? And it's like
Mhm.
this magical thing that you'll just never forget, just like your first podium you just talked about, right? Third
Mhm.
place. Everybody crashed. Oh well, right? You got to finish the race, like you said, to get it. So there we go, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
And the being half a lap behind, it helped me. I would have ended up in that pileup had I not been, so it could have just been strategy. It could be that.
See, you was already plotting back then, and you didn't even know
Exactly.
it, right?
I knew there was something up, so I planned ahead. That
I
was it.
love it. Oh. All right, so first podium, second season.
I didn't touch another podium for the rest of that season. Then the following year, let's see. At that point, I want to say we would have gotten an Ovali 160. Um, yep, would have gotten an Ovali 160 by that point. And at that time, we were now racing M1GP and the NorCal series. Up in NorCal, I think I would occasionally get a podium depending on who's there. If I did, it was like a third place. But otherwise down in M1GP, with that crowd, I was consistently getting podiums and getting better. I think partially was because I just trained at Willow Springs so much that I knew that track so well, so it was just much easier to go faster.
Track knowledge is key. That's something I talk about
Mm-hmm.
too a lot, right? When you often hear it, especially back in the day. Oh, this is JD's backyard right here. This is Cam Bobier's backyard, right? Like he's got so much seat time at this track. You know it intimately, is basically, and the fast points and what bumps
Mm-hmm.
to avoid and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I mean, and the other part is when, like at Willow Springs, I forget what the number of the turn is, but the name of it's called the Omega. And when you go through, there's like a crack that was like that big. I mean, with the wheels that we had on there, like your wheel could probably fit in there if you had it at the right angle. But I knew after riding it so many times, like there's no need to worry about that. It's so brief. If you just stay on the gas, you're fine. But your competitors, you'd come up onto that turn, and I always knew they're gonna slow down here. That's gonna kill their drive when they go to flip it, so I can get them on the exit. So it really helped in that moment. But no, I want to say the third season was getting more podiums, and I kind of repeated the same thing for my fourth year. Just stayed on that bike and just continued progressing like that. Um, let's see, fifth year, I want to say was still on the mini bikes, but now we were looking to, no. By the fifth year, I was on the big bike. So by the end of the fourth year, we were looking to get onto the bigger tracks. So we got a Ninja 250 and just kind of started doing occasional track days just to get a feel for it. And that was scary. Because the fastest I'd previously gone was maybe 80 miles per hour at most on a 160, and that was at like Streets of Willow or something one time. Otherwise, maybe like 60 at most is what I want to say. So getting on the 250, even though, they're not exactly the most powerful bikes, but to me at the time, that was like a 1000. And I see people going flying by me. I'm like, how are they going faster? How are they not scared? Like, there's a turn right there. Are they gonna stop? Um, but by the end of that track day, I was having so much fun. They let me go into. I started in C. They let me go into B. I don't remember if they let me go into A group or not. I don't think they did. They might have, just because it was a love track day. The first time was at Thunderhill West, was where I had my first big bike track day. And from there, we just started to occasionally do those track days. Picked up a Ninja 300 just to try to get a little bit more speed, maybe a little bit of a different body style. That one was definitely harder to turn. It
The
wasn't
300.
it
Yeah.
wasn't as flickable as the 250.
Yeah.
Part of it, I think, was setup, just because the guy we got it from was a bit bigger than me, so he had stiffer springs in there. Um, but no, we just consistently did track days that year. Um, and at one point, I want to say during the 5th year during the 5th year, while we're doing all of these track days, we get approached by Feel Like a Pro, say, hey, would you at all be interested in, riding for our team with the Ninja 400? We could do like a day together and kind of see if this might be a good fit for us. Just doing, club stuff, nothing professional. So we did a track day with them. It was my first time on a 400. In my mind, it was going to be this huge leap between like a 300 and a 250. It was just going to be so drastic, and I was kind of scared. So whenever I'd crack on the gas, I was riding it like it was like a 600 or 1000. Like, this thing's going to just power wheelie on me or something. Um, but I eventually got a little bit more used to it, and let's say mid-year we did the AFM season. I believe I know we did 2 rounds with them down in Buttonwillow. That was where I had my first, big bike race on the 400, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of scary, but by then I had done a few track days by the time we started racing. And by the second round, and I was on a fully stock Ninja 400, and for the super stock class, I had set the lap record for that class specifically on that bike, which, with the way the rules are written, anyone with very few modifications could race in that class. So, of course, eventually it was beat. But I was happy. By my second round, I was able to achieve that.
That's right. Absolutely. And one question I have for you is, the jump from the 160 to the 250, that's a huge jump,
Mm-hmm.
right? The weight, the power, so everything changes, the braking points, the turn in, everything. So
Mm-hmm.
you had to, transition into a bigger bike, learn not a different skill sets, but the same, hone them in at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, right? To make that bike performant and go faster. And then from the 250 to the 300, it's not really that big of a jump, from the
Mm-hmm.
300 to 400. It sounds like a lot of 100 cc's. It is a little bit of a jump, but
I think it was just how refined the 400 was
yeah,
compared to the 300 is what threw me off.
yeah,
Because with the 250 and 300, you kind of have to ride around a few things with the bike. But the 400 just felt so much cleaner that it almost messed with me, where I was so used to the bike giving me feedback in certain areas and kind of fighting me. So when it wasn't, I wasn't sure if that's how it was supposed to be. Um, but with the 160 and the 250, you get used to it pretty quickly. By the end of the day, I was comfortable. The biggest part was just your top speed, and you have to tell yourself, I need to make sure I'm fully pinned on the straight, because it's a long ways. I shouldn't be half gas in like fourth gear. So that was kind of the biggest thing, was just the speed, and maybe how higher or how high off the ground you are compared to the Ovali, which with the 250 you're really not, but if you compare it to the Ovali, you're fairly higher. So just learning to lean a little bit more to get your knee down. That was a little bit unnerving, especially at that speed, but I mean, like I said, by the end of the day, it's not such a huge leap, that you eventually get used to it.
yeah, for sure. It's and I couldn't imagine the feeling you had when the team approached you. It's like, hey, you want to come out and ride for
I
us for
didn't,
a
so
day?
so they actually approached my dad with that, but with me, I didn't know. I didn't know who this guy was. I was on my way to the snack bar at Thunder Hill, because it's lunchtime. I'm hungry. I've been riding all day on that grind. Getting
Love
light,
it.
and this guy's just sitting on the bench, and I can kind of see him, but I'm not making eye contact. But he's just kind of sitting there, kind of watching me, kind of narrowing his eyes at me, and I kind of maybe glance over, but I don't do too much. And he's like, so how's the track out there? I'm just like, oh, it's a lot of fun. It's great. Just we made some changes to the bike, so I'm enjoying it. Um, and we were just generally talking, but it was in my mind in that moment, like, why is he talking to me? Why? I'm just trying to get some food. Why is he watching me? But that was I didn't know who I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was the owner of that team, but it just kind of threw me off. I remember that, which is kind of funny to me at least. Um, but yeah, he approached my dad. It's like, hey, would this be something you guys would be interested in?
And he
Yeah,
was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Let's
yeah,
go." Yeah.
yeah. Let's do this.
So how did it turn out?
It turned out really well. We ended up riding with them for two years, I want to say. Um, That's what I'm remembering. I'm doing my best to remember every single stage because it
Oh,
all
you're
kind of
good.
just blended together. There was a lot of overlapping. But no, my first full season with them, it was very successful. Got a lot of podiums, I think I won my novice championships. They moved me up. There was actually a loophole in the rules that after accumulating a certain amount of points, the rule said after 3 races, you can move up to expert, but um, what they had intended it for it to say was 3 race like rounds. And because I did my first 2 rounds the year prior and I accomplished the third round earlier that year, and this is me talking about my following year after my first time. Um, we made the argument or the plea of like, hey, this is what the rules specifically say. So, and I mean, it's not like I was going slow. I was catching the experts and passing them, and now competing with the people, mid pack to front for experts after having, the 2 wave start thing that they do. So it wasn't, they were okay with us moving up to expert. They promptly changed the rules after that to make sure no one else could do it.
Look at you, you troublemaker.
Exactly, exactly. Um, but we did that, and once I was an expert, I mean, we were battling for podiums nearly every weekend, and we were one of those people that we rode every class my bike fit in. So, you did the stock classes, you did the superbike classes, even if your bike's not necessarily built for that. We did the twins classes, we did the women's class. So we just raced as much as we could, and in a weekend, I could race, maybe 8 or so races. So it was a lot of track time, which is really good. It was enjoyable. Definitely had to build my endurance with that, moving from the smaller bikes to the bigger bikes. And also just you have more laps you have to complete on them. But it went really well. I won a lot of my championships that year. Um, and yeah, it just went really well. Then we decided to maybe give Moto America a shot, see how that could go. So we tried. So you're gonna learn. I have, it's not a love-hate relationship. It's just a hate relationship with Laguna. Because me and Laguna, we don't agree at all. Um, but we decided to do our first Moto America race round. This was when Junior Cup was still around. I believe in 2022. I want to say 2022. That's what I'm remembering. We decided to do Laguna because that was what was closest to us. We didn't want to travel out of state. We were living in California at the time. And so we go down there, we do a track day, I believe though a week or two before, because if you're dropping around, I believe the rules stipulated at the time that we could do the track day, not be disqualified. So we did that. Got the bike pretty close, kind of close to what we wanted. I still wasn't super happy with it. The biggest thing was just I was getting such bad chatter, like through the turn 3 and 4 were really difficult for me, and going down the corkscrew was terrifying. But then we got through it, and Saturday came. No, I'm sorry, Friday came. Friday came. It was time for warm up, and my crew chief at the time, who he was supposed to be crewing my bike, but he also um was going to be racing. And so he had to make sure to focus on his bike a little bit, but through the kind of chaos that we had going on, no one noticed that my warmers weren't put on, which there was a lot going on, so I can understand, but at the same time, with my practice being up first, I think I only got about 15 to 20 minutes for the warmers to be on the bike, but at Laguna, especially when you're first practice up, it's cold. It's all, the track's all moist and such, so any heat you can get, you need. But I didn't want to miss out on my practice because I needed to do some changes to the bike. And it's not like I haven't been out on track without any warmers before, so I wasn't expecting anything major. So I just told myself, just take it easy, don't lean the bike too much, get a feel for it within the first few turns. So that's what I did. I went around, everything was, you could feel a little bit of slippage, but when I got to the top of the corkscrew, you lean it in a little bit. As soon as I gave the slightest amount of gas, instantly my rear stepped out and launched me off the bike. I mean, I flew. By the time I hit the ground, I was probably halfway down the corkscrew. I'm tumbling. I remember looking back up towards the corkscrew. I see my bike sliding towards me, slides over me, uses me as a speed bump, continues down without me. And then by the time I came to a stop, I was face down. I kind of glanced down, see my bike further down the corkscrew, and it hurt so bad. I went to try and lift myself, and was promptly, told by my body, we're not doing this. We're staying right here. So they ended up red flagging the session. I was that person crashed on the first lap, right there in the morning. Felt so bad about that. um, Ended up fracturing my scaphoid bone on my right hand. So literally the only function I needed, which twist the gas, I could not do. But I could use the brakes, I could use the rest of me. But because of that, could not race that round. After about 2 weeks, it was already healed and good to go again. So went back to just doing some club racing that year. And then the following year, we decided to try our luck one more time because why not? Let's give this a shot. And so I believe we got through Friday this time. We got through okay, I managed to get through. I wasn't happy with my results or anything, but I made it through. I was happy that nothing happened. I thought I was in the clear. Um, but I had been having some issues towards the end where my bike was cutting out. Later, we found out it was the fuel filter. It needed to be cleaned out because of all the tank foam that was in the bike.
Yeah.
It was clogging that. And so I don't think we had cleaned it or at the time knew that that was kind of an issue that needed to be addressed. And so I'm going around and it's cutting out pretty bad to the point that I'm full gas going down the corkscrew and it cuts out completely. And then it just comes back as I'm still full gas and it gives me all the power. So the thing's trying to step out on me everywhere. And I'm like, this is making me lose time in a lot of places just by the fact that I'm off the gas now. And also I have to readjust and save myself from crashing every time this happens. I don't know that I can achieve a better lap time than the previous day because of this. And so I pull in. I was gonna just call it and just go to Park Ferme and just leave it at that. I have a time that qualifies. There's no need to push it anymore. But after some talking among, the peeps, they decided to send me back out just to see, just try to put your head down and put a time. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So I make it to turn 5, and as I'm turning in, I'm almost to the apex. The bike just dies. It absolutely dies on me. It's not giving me anything. And so I'm like, oh no, I'm right in the middle of the turn, in one of the fastest sections of the track. I should move over. So I immediately go over to the rumble strips. At this point, I'm on the rumble strips. I'm getting ready to go into the dirt. I'm just gonna go over to the wall and I'm not gonna try and limp it back in. There's no point. So I start to go towards the wall, and all of a sudden, I'm up in the air and I'm staring down at my bike, like, oh, did the wheel lock up on me? What happened? And so I go flying over my bike and do my little tumble. bike lands on my legs, so I have to, it didn't hurt or anything there, just it kept my knees from bending was the biggest thing. Um, but I glance back and I see another bike. I'm like, oh, someone hit me. That's what happened. Um, and so another racer had actually come in contact with me because, I mean, when you're going at that, I mean, he was probably doing 80 or 90, and with my bike dying, I maybe was at like 50-ish, maybe 40-ish, because I'm on the brakes at this point trying to get off the track. But I was in the rumble strips, but at this point there was such a speed difference that I don't know, I'd have to see it from his perspective, but it absolutely sheared my rear tire. I mean, it was literally sheared. I kept the rim. I think we got rid of it now, but at first I thought it was so cool. I wanted to hang it on my wall because it was literally sheared off. It had a piece that was like sticking out of it. The rubber was still on. It was flat. It
You
looked
should have made a
cool.
clock out of it.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just gonna have to repeat the instance, but but no. I look back, I see him. He helps lift the bike off my legs. I felt so bad because I knew it wasn't his fault. Because what are you gonna do when a bike just dies in front of you? There's not a lot of room in that area of the track. So ended up coming back into the pits. Both of us got our bikes rebuilt. I had to go get checked out again. This time I had only fractured a few pieces in my thumb. So we just taped it up. I didn't need to use my thumb anyways. It's fine. So just
I
made
don't
it
need it.
straight.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
good.
exactly. I don't need my thumb. I mean, as long as I can use my palm, it's fine.
We're good.
So we taped it up. We got the bike ready to go. Made it out onto grid and actually completed the race. So I was able to finish my first Moto America race in 23, I believe. Um, or no, 20, yeah, 23? 23. Um, no, 20, that was 22. It was 21. It was 20, I'm sorry, I'm bouncing around. It was 2021, that was my first Moto America race, and then second time was 22, because 23 is, I believe, when we did the full Moto America Junior Cup season. Um, and it was a huge learning experience, especially just coming into it. Um,
It's a lot different than club racing.
it was a huge there's a difference between just doing a drop-in round and doing the
The
season.
season, yeah.
It was a big difference. One of the things was just having a setup. When you show up to these tracks, a lot of times, people have been there a few times, so they know what to do. They at least have a guideline or something. You show up on Friday, you have, what is it? You had 30 minutes of practice. Um, to figure out, okay, this is how you ride the track, and also make sure your bike's set up and make sure you have the proper gearing. And so when you're walking into it with no knowledge really of what you're supposed to do, I mean, a couple of times some people helped us out with gearing, but otherwise you're walking into it with nothing but maybe some YouTube videos of, what the track looks like when you're out there. So I would use those to just memorize the turns. So as I'm out there, I knew what turns were coming up. Um, but when you only have that amount of time, I mean, there's a lot of people, in 30 minutes, they might be able to master the track instantly. Um, but my biggest issue was just getting a setup that really worked, especially like our very first race round was Road Atlanta. That went horribly for me. I was so bummed out that round, just because of all the elevation changes. We thought we needed some stiffer springs, but with the way I ride, I really don't like feedback coming from the front of my bike. I like to ride it like it's a cloud. I don't want feedback unless there's something wrong, which at that track that's not going to work. Um, so just trying to get around those turns was so difficult. I think I finished like second to last. That time, maybe third to last. I was somewhere towards the back. It was a bummer. But we got through it. I think, oh no, I did crash that round too. We had one rain practice, and I was actually doing pretty good during the rain practice. I was towards the front during that, um, which I love riding in the rain. The rain is super fun for me. But crashed, got the bike ready to go again, and then failed miserably during the race, and we just picked, licked our wounds, kept going. But it was a huge learning experience that round, just realizing how little time you have to get everything going, especially if you want to mess around with either takeoffs or new tires and you want to do a gearing or a tire change or whatever right there at the wall. It ate up so much time. So really just figuring out the strategy right there was the biggest thing. Um, I forget what my second race round was. Um, I forget what the second race round was. I know.
I can't remember. I'm trying to think of 23. I can't because it changes year to year what tracks
Mhm.
they go to. So
It wasn't. Was it Barber?
might have been Bar.
Because I think they only
Sounds
had.
right.
Did they only have 5 rounds?
Rounds.
They
Yeah.
had Atlanta, Barber, Brainerd, Pittsburgh, and
Jersey.
Jersey.
Yeah.
I know Jersey's the last one because I didn't go to Jersey. Um, but
I
anyway,
think it was Barber. I
it
think
was
you're
it was a Barber.
right. Yeah.
So Barber, I actually really enjoyed Barber. I realized so at that track with all of those elevation changes and just the G-forces, I learned you have to breathe while you're riding. Because I'm a shallow breather, and so that doesn't work at that track when you're constantly pressed against the bike. And so I had to pull in like midway through my first practice just to really take a deep breath and like take a minute or two because I was like my side was cramping. So I just learned on the straights, you just take a deep breath and make sure that you're fully breathing. Now I just do it in general just to make sure. But um, lots of people showed up to that practice day about a week prior, and I think only me and like 3 other people couldn't show up. So that was the challenge, is trying to show up and make sure that we can figure out the track as quickly as possible. And this time, I qualified so so this time I qualified again, second to last. Um, but by the time the race came around, I had a fairly decent setup that I was okay with, and I thought I could push through. And so I love with my race starts on the 400, I love them. So right off the bat, I got by 2 rows, and just started trying to make my way forward. Um, Finished. There was a pretty big grid though that year. Was it somewhere? It was like
I
31,
was gonna say like
32,
31, 32.
and I
Yeah.
was able to finish, oh, right around 20, either just above or just below. So I was right around there from second to last, just trying to make my way right at the start. So our problem that we encountered the remaining rounds was we had our setup fairly close to what we wanted, but it was then time to race by the time we got it figured out. So I'm now starting from the back, trying to push my way forward. Um, oh, and Road America. That's the other track.
Yep.
That was the other track.
Yep. Road America. What a beautiful track.
Exactly.
And cheese curds.
I'm
And the
a big
spotted cow beer they
fan.
have there. Yeah, the cheese curds and the spotted. I went there. I've been there twice, and they're like, "Dude, you got to do the spotted cow." And I'm thinking to myself, "The hell's a spotted cow?" I thought it was a bar or something, right? They're like, "No, it's the lager. You got to try the beer." I was like, "I'm not really a big beer drinker, right?" So I was like,
Mhm.
"While in Rome, why not?" Right? And I took a sip. I was like, "Oh my god, this is really good beer. I could actually probably drink this beer." It was,
Mhm.
yeah. So, but that track's amazing. It's one of those tracks where it's not so good for the fans as far as you got to walk so far from, just like Road Atlanta, right? You actually need a scooter or
Mhm.
something to get around on. Um,
Yes.
but it's such an amazing place. The
Mhm.
atmosphere, the layout. It's just, yeah, beautiful track
Mhm.
for sure.
I on the 400, I did enjoy Road America. So I got to ride it after it was repaved. And it was nice. I really enjoyed it. That round I actually did fairly well when I started on the grid or during qualifying. I was about mid-pack that time instead of starting towards the back. I think I started somewhere around 15th, somewhere around there. So for me, it was a great thing because at Road America with those bikes, especially, it's a drafting game. So if I could try to position myself as close as possible to at least, the top 10, I could stay with them just because, the draft would help me. And so right off the bat, I was able to move forward a few rows and was right there during the first race because I think we did 2 races that time. And during the first race, So during the season, I got hit a lot. And going up into, let's see, that would be 4, going up into turn 4, right? That's up at the top of the little hill. As I'm going up at the top, all of a sudden my bike goes sideways, but I was able to keep it up. I kind of veer off and then I have to pull back on. I've lost several spots at this point because it's the first lap. But I look behind me and there's someone also that just had a little off and I was just there.
They're like, "Hi, I'm here."
Oh, and it was such a bummer for me because I was like, I think I was within the top 10 in that moment. And I was so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm right there. I could do this. Nope, could not. But anyways, yeah. So got through that race. I was a little bit bummed that had happened, but I enjoyed the race. In my mind, that gave me confidence, made me think, okay, I could probably do something here. Um, then the following day, Sunday came up and I didn't get as good of a start, but I still got a decent start. Wasn't as close to top 10, and because of kind of the way everything shook out, one of the riders who had qualified behind me, they had gotten a better positioning and ended up in front of me, so I was trying to get around them right off the bat, and the group I wanted had kind of pulled away just enough that we weren't fast enough to catch up to them, even with the draft. So it was me and maybe a group of 6 of us that are just kind of all swapping throughout the race. I think you had like the top 10 people, and then you had me and whatever the like 17th. We're all together. And we're all just, we're swapping around, and I start to get tired. Like I had maybe 2 laps to go, and I was getting such bad arm pump. I mean, I could not like grab the brakes anymore. Um, Even with my full strength, I was not stopping. And so coming out of the carousel, I think we have, like I said, 2 laps to go, maybe, yeah, 2 laps. And I had just gotten around whoever's in front of me. I'm right in front of them for the first time in this race, which I was so happy about because I wanted to break free from them and go. So I had just gotten around them, around the outside, and I was braking later than them going into the chicanes. I'm like, I got this. I can brake later than them. No, I I went to get on the brakes, and my arm's not stopping me. I kept going, as I'm leaning, and I barely get through the first one, and I just end up in the grass, and just with I don't know what I was doing. I did something, and I tucked the front in the grass and kind of tumbled and sat up and watched everyone go on by. Um, I didn't get back on the bike just because I think I forget why I didn't get back on the bike. It wasn't because I forget why. I think the truck had just immediately rolled out, so we put everything in and just brought it back into the pits. I wasn't bummed out at all. I felt good about the race, and I was disappointed that had happened, but I knew it was just me. It was nothing the bike did. It was not about, my performance. It was just my arm got tired and I need to get better at that.
Yeah.
But I was happy. I was positive when I came back in. So that was a fun race for me, I think. Um, Also learning with just where you need to be with the draft, because prior to that, really didn't do a whole lot of drafting on that bike. Maybe just a little bit, but nothing substantial. So that was nice to learn about and really see in practice where you need to be. And also
Did
just
that change your gearing at all?
what's that?
Did that
Oh,
change
the
your
gearing?
gearing? Yeah.
It did. I not as dramatically as I would have thought, just because I kept it in my head that I wanted to be better coming off the turn. So even if I had a little bit of shorter gearing, um, I would still be right there in the draft and they would pull me along. And because we were all in a big group, they were all kind of slowing each other just because of the way it works. So any distance that I had lost in that little straight, I can make right back up because I'm able to continue on with my gas and my braking points, whereas they kind of have to mind each other.
Yeah.
Um, so I just wanted a better drive out of the turns because in my head I was thinking, okay, if I'm coming off of like the last turn, I want to make sure I get the best jump possible. Because I'm not going to max out before I get to the finish line. So really, it's how am I going to be able to maximize that turn to make sure no one can get by me, or so that way I can get by someone else.
It's a big
So
chess
that's
game
mm-hmm,
for
at least
sure.
on that bike. Yeah, and that was kind of my ideology. Maybe it wasn't the right one or the best one, but with the information we had at the time, I was okay with trying it. So that's what we did. Overall, I thought it was a fun round. I thought it was successful. Um, I believe after that was Brainerd. I want to say Brainerd happened. Um, again, got taken out. Oh wait, I said 2 times. I got taken out 3 times that season. I'm a very good target, by the way, in case
I
anyone's
see
wondering.
that. Yeah.
In total, I think in all my time of racing, I've been taken out 4 times that I can remember. 4 times that I can remember. But with Brainerd, we had actually arrived to do a track day beforehand this time at one of the tracks I hadn't been to previously. So it was really nice to be able to feel the track out and get at least a baseline setup. So now we're starting with something really good on Friday. So when Friday came around, I was able to get up to speed pretty good. Still, I don't think I was towards the top 10. I was about mid pack again. Um, but by the end of Friday, we got her set up pretty close to what I wanted. And I believe this time I started 13th on the grid, which was the closest I had ever started at this point to the front. Um, and right off the bat, get going. And I mean, the top like 7 guys, I think it was, no, top, oh, and we'll say top 7, they all just, they take off, they're doing their thing. So I'm in the second group and we're all battling for that like 8th spot. Um, and that was Brainerd was interesting. I've heard a lot of people say they don't like that track. I personally loved Brainerd. I think it's probably as much hate as I might get. It's one of my favorite tracks. um, just because I really enjoyed the layout. It was a lot of fun, and even with the way the surface was, it really reminded me of Button Willow, which I had ridden so many times, so I was just so used to those bumps and riding through them. It just I loved the layout. It was so much fun for me. Um, so I enjoyed that track. It was a lot of fun riding. Um, by the end of that first race, I was able to get 9th. So I came in second in that second group. So it was my first like top 10 finish. I was stoked. It was great. But it kind of put it in my head of like, wow, if I had time previously on this track to or these other tracks to really set up my bike and do like learn this track before it's time to race, I could maybe do something. So it was kind of a confidence booster of like, you don't suck, at least not as much as you think. um so that was really nice. So going into Sunday, I was stoked. I got it in my head that I'm going to try and get with that lead group, see what I can do there. And it didn't go according to plan on the first lap. um about second to last lap, or no, I'm sorry, second to last turn on the first lap. Um, it's like right after that straightaway where everyone gets to spectate. Right, going right into that turn. I'm doing my thing. I just passed by someone, on the brakes. I'm leaning in and I'm getting ready to exit the turn, and nope. I hit the ground. I look back. I see someone. I'm like, not again. Not again. So yep, this time the bike, I don't think the bike pinned me down this time, but I immediately picked up my bike. So I'm like, no, I was doing so good. This can't be it. Not like this. So I try to start my bike, but because it was laying on its side, it's not starting. I need to give it a second. And the other rider was okay. He was apologetic, and I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Just I need to do a thing. I need to start the bike. And so he kind of walks off, and um we pulled the bike behind the wall, and I'm still trying to get this thing started. And by the time I get it started, the leaders are maybe 3/4 of the way done with that same lap. So I get back out and I just keep going. I think my peg was bent in the shifter and maybe the bar, but it was writable. It was doable. Um, so I finish the race. I get lapped by the front people just because of the way it all shook out. Um, but I still finished the race. I really wanted to finish because in my head I was like, oh, this is such a fun track though. I was doing so good. I can't just throw it in after, a lap or, almost a full lap. And so finished the race. So I was happy about that, not happy about the situation. I was kind of bummed out about that because I really thought I could do something there. Or, at least, repeat what I had done on Saturday. Um want to say the last race we did that season was Pittsburgh again, taken out, and also first lap also. Man, I don't have good luck with first laps.
Do you have a bullseye on the back of your leathers?
I have a big old panda on the back of my leathers. That could be it.
It could be.
But yeah, so first lap also. This time we're going. This is when they just added in that chicane on the very back straight. I believe that was the first time they were using it, maybe. Um, but it was all I'd ever known, so it wasn't an issue for me. And one of the guys, they had gone in to late break me on the inside, and it was a good pass. I even acknowledged it as it was happening, like, wow, that's awesome. And then they tucked the front right in front of me, but I avoided it. And it went off to the side, and I'm like, oh, I just did that. This is great. Got my spot back, didn't get taken out. And around that turn, because a little kink, and I go to flip it back over, I'm like, oh, he's coming back. The bike just keeps sliding across. I forgot about that. I'm like, oh, am I gonna make it? And so I'm trying to get through this turn, and I stand it up, and the bike's coming at me, and I'm like, this is not gonna work. I'm
And
like,
it's in slow motion.
exactly, it's slow motion, and so the rider is in front of the bike, and he's like, I can see him. He's like got his arms out. He's watching me, like, oh my god, she's gonna run me over. And so I ended up running over his legs. I didn't know if I hit him or not. He was totally fine by the end. He was completely okay. My hip was not, because when I fell over, I took out his windscreen with my hip, and whoa, that left a pretty mark on me for a couple of days.
A little rough sleeping at night.
Yeah, I felt like an old lady getting up from that. I mean, my hip was hurting. But no, they ended up red flagging that race because I believe there was some other issue that had happened that following lap. And so we were able to get my bike into the pits and, just take a look at it. I think just the front lever was bent down because, I mean, I was just standing upright and he just made me fall over like that, but he basically took me out on the grass. So the bike was okay, and I'm over there, licking my wounds, hurting, and one of the officials comes over there like, hey, your lever's down, and I'm kind of upset in this moment, so I trudge over, I yank the thing up, and it probably needed to be loosened, but I didn't care in that moment, so I just yanked it up, and I'm like, all right, that'll work, and I kind of jiggle it to kind of, show the fact that it's good, it's not going anywhere. And bike was okay. I think we just foot peg and went back out for that race. And on the first lap, right after the chicane, I didn't get taken out this time, but my bike cut out on me. I don't know why, but it just did. It stopped working. So I had to pull off to the side, and I watched the race go by. I got to be a spectator on the infield that time. But yeah, it was a very educational season. Ended up skipping New Jersey just because it was the furthest drive for us, and we weren't in it for the points, and the club racing scene was starting back up. I think maybe it was the CVMA, maybe. There was another round that we could have gone to, and for us, we just decided it's cheaper to go to the club round, and we'll actually win something there, maybe build some confidence again. Get a little pat on the back for my ego, all that, exactly. So we ended up skipping New Jersey, but that was my first Moto America season. Very educational. Learned quite a bit. One of the biggest things I took away with my writing was just getting up to pace within that first session. Because prior to that, I was very slow to get up to speed. I always wanted to take like a few sessions before I really started to push it. But when I got to Moto America, you don't have the time for that, and B, none of your competitors are doing that. And I had to try and get it into my head of, if they're able to push it like that, or at least, be fully leaned over. If your bike's not set up and you can't take this turn the same speed, okay, but look at the way they're riding. Clearly, you can go a little faster, push it a little harder. So that was one of the bigger eye-openers for me, was, seeing I can go faster in the first session. It's okay. You're not going to immediately crash, as long as you have your tire warmers on. But
And they're plugged in.
What's that?
And they're plugged in more than
And they're
15
plugged in.
minutes.
I've had
absolutely.
that happen before.
Right.
Actually, I've had that happen before a couple of club races, and they get like maybe 5 minutes on the warmer. Like, I can make that work in the first. I get a warm up lap anyways.
I'll just do a couple extra weaves. I'm good. I got this.
Exactly. You use a lot more of your front and rear brakes to try and put a little more heat
into it. Yeah.
I mean, I never crashed because of it, so clearly it worked. Yeah,
we're fine. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
We got it.
But yeah, and then the following year we did some more stuff with the 400, and eventually we just switched to the 600, or the Kawasaki 636, which is what I'm on now. Just because I think my motor had blown in my 400, and the price to fix it, we kind of just scratched our heads and went, do we really want to stay on the 400 at this point? We may as well move up, because we'd been kind of talking about it, but nothing official had been decided. So when it blew up, decided, you know what, why not? Let's go ahead and pull the trigger. So we did. Got a Kawasaki 636, and the first year it was kind of scary, especially my first time on it, because every time I'd spoken to someone else who was like, oh, if you're going to move up from like a 400 to a 600, you got to be careful with the power, because if you got it, the rear will step out and then you'll high side. And, to an extent, that is true, but I'm not trying to whiskey throttle it, I'm just trying to get on the gas, but I was so scared to get on the gas. I feel like I've gotten a lot better at that, but I'm still actively trying to get on the gas a little bit harder. But it's just trusting the bike and knowing that the rear is going to move around a little bit. That's just the nature of the bike. You just need to trust it and manage it. But that first season, it was a very slow start on the bike. I was definitely towards the back of the grid. But it was such a fun bike. I really enjoyed it. Then this year, I believe this year, just really started to put in all that extra time on the bike. And during the first few ASRA rounds here in the Midwest, haven't got any first places yet, but I've gotten a few seconds and a few thirds. The one time I battled for first one time so far, and that was in the rain. I wanted that so badly. I wanted so bad. I was willing to push it so hard. I almost tucked the front a couple times. My rear was stepping out, but I wanted that win so bad because I hadn't gotten it yet, but it's right there. It's right in front of me. Didn't end up getting it just because I don't know. I feel like I could have done something. If I could go back in time, I'd probably just smack myself and say go faster. I don't know. I'd do something. That was the first time I was like battling for first in the rain. Which, like I said, I love the rain. It's so fun. You get to, like with normal racing, yes, you're focused, but your mind can also kind of wander when you kind of get into the groove and you're doing your thing, maybe not actively engaged in a battle. With racing in the rain, at least for me, I mean, all of your focus is right there. There's nothing else I'm thinking about or distracted by. It's just constantly, can I take this a little bit faster? Is this too much lean angle? Remember to be smooth on the gas. Oh my god, make sure to hit the brakes. Oh my god, you're about to go off track. And then, oh no, never mind, you're good. Just that stuff that goes on in your head as you're in the rain. But no, this season has been a lot of fun, very, very nice. Did a lot of stuff with setup, so I think the bike's pretty much where I want it. for the most part. Maybe some tweaks to make it a little bit better, but no, I'm loving the bike so far. I think it's one of the best decisions we made for jumping onto a bike.
I love it. What a mega journey you've had into
Mm-hmm.
this sport, right? It's and you hit the ground running and broke a lot of hearts
Exactly.
on the way. 110% broke a lot of hearts on the way.
Oh, maybe just a
Guarantee it.
little. Just a little. It was okay.
Just a couple, right? They'll be okay. It's you
Mm-hmm.
lick your wounds and you move on to the new day, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's listen, we got a bunch of comments in here.
Oh goodness.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to get to a couple of these comments from my good buddy Kenny Abbott. What is up, my man? He says, "Amen. I started racing in 1985 when track days didn't exist. You had to have a racing license." Referring back to my story
Mhm.
with the safety wire. I need to get a T-shirt that says a safety wire. What is safety wire? Um, he also says hard things for girls is finding boots and gloves in small girl sizes too.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's why it's very important to have a custom made suit, tailored measure specifically for you, right? It
Exactly.
not women too, men too as well. It's a huge game changer, right?
Mhm.
Especially when you have a suit that no off the rack suit fits anybody 100% correctly anyway,
No.
right? So it's going to be big in areas and tight in others, and again, it hinders the way you perform on a motorcycle. If it's
Mhm.
tight here, it's going to cause arm pump no matter how loose you are here because it's
Mhm.
so tight here, right? And
And
so yeah,
even just getting an off the rack suit, and if you could just make a few alterations to it, maybe not fully custom, because some people they can't do that, but just a few alterations can make a huge difference.
110%. And then we're referring to back up when you was up there getting the concession stand. He said, "Stranger danger." Like what's this guy keep eyeballing me for?
Exactly. And
Right.
like I said, we ended up being the race owner, so it was all good, but I wasn't like afraid, or I was just more like, why is he looking at me?
Right. I was like, what's this guy keep staying
Why is
for?
he?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
well, I knew he
hilarious.
was analyzing me. I just didn't know why. I'm like, did I cut him off while we were out there? Did I make a bad pass? I'm like
Right.
replaying all the sessions, trying to figure out who this guy is.
That's hilarious. And then Derek Van, what is going on, buddy? He says Laguna is tough almost everyone. Everyone, I've
Yes.
been to Laguna once. It was '05 when MotoGP first come back. Um,
Mhm.
It's definitely a magical place. That back then they had big corkscrew signs on trees, right? And we
Mhm.
drove from Virginia to Laguna Seca and then drove home. So I snapped one of those signs off the tree and I got it hanging in my garage right now, right? It's
Oh, okay. That's exciting.
yeah, I mean, it had to come home with me. It was calling my name.
Mhm.
It kept eyeballing me just like the man in the chair. Every time I walked by, it kept staring at me like, "You
Uh-huh.
got a problem? But we're gonna handle this. You're coming home
Mhm.
with me." Yeah, so
Mhm.
it's hilarious. And then we got Ryan Nolan. What is up, my man? He says, talking about her least favorite track. Glad you're doing this pod in between your motorcycle clothing fashion shots.
Yes. He took some of my little fashion shoot pictures down at Blackhawk during one of the Azure rounds for Sport Momo.
Love
So
it.
yeah, it was fun. They're very good photographers. I think they should go into the business myself, but that's me.
There you go. Take it up. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
it's awesome. I interview some photographers. I think it's interesting because they tell a story behind the lens, and it's a different story in the way
Mhm.
they approach racing. Right?
Mhm.
It's a beautiful thing. It's when you see those certain pictures, and it just stands out to you in a moment in time, and you actually feel the energy from that certain picture. Right? The picture tells 1,000 words, and that's absolutely the truth. Um,
Mhm.
and when they're at the track and they're taking freaking 50,000 photos that week, and I can imagine the hours sitting behind the screen going through all those photos, it drive me
Mhm.
nuts. I'm like, you know what? I'm a any, mini, mighty, mo. This one, and this one. Let's go.
Mhm. Well,
Uh,
it's much appreciated what they do. I mean,
100%. Same thing with the corner marshal workers. Big shout out to all the corner
yes,
marshal workers out there, right?
absolutely.
All the men and women that do it, man. We love you so much. It's such an honor to have you guys and girls out
Mhm.
there because
Let us do
without
what we
you,
do.
we wouldn't be as fans showing up, and Jasmine wouldn't be out there breaking hearts out there on the track. So
And
yeah,
taking out. Mhm.
absolutely, 110%. So let's see. Ryan Nolan says, I have always loved how nonchalant Jasmine is about this or anything that happens. Nothing really gets to her except making
Oh,
decisions about ice cream.
oh my gosh.
All right, hold up. Real quick to go with that, Ethan's song, "What Is Up?" My man says, can never decide about ice cream.
So the thing with that, basically, a couple times we decided to go get some ice cream after dinner. And well, the way it started was
Well, what happened was,
what happened was we went to dinner and they had mentioned, oh, maybe we'll get some ice cream after this. In my head, I'm like, oh, okay, ice cream, that's good. That sounds good. And so get in the car and they're not talking about ice cream, but I'm the driver, so I gotta know where we're going. Like, so we get an ice cream? Like, do you want ice cream? Like, I just gotta know where we're going. I mean, do you guys want ice cream? Like, but do you want ice cream? Like, I don't care. Whatever you guys want. And so I start driving towards the track, and one of our buddies, like, he goes, turn left right here, right now. And I'm at a stop sign about to turn right, and I just swerve over to the left, and he's like, we're gonna go get some ice cream. Um, like, so in my head, I'm like, oh, yes, we're getting ice cream, but I'm not gonna tell him that. Obviously, we're doing this drive for them.
I love it.
So we go after his poor directions, which we still argue about that. I think he gave me poor directions. But we make it to the ice cream place. I think it was the Dairy Queen, and he was like, Jasmine, did you want ice cream? And I'm like, yeah, I did. So since then, they're just like, Jasmine, do you want ice cream? It's like, but I don't want us to go get ice cream because I want ice cream. We got to go get ice cream because we all want ice cream. So that's where the story is, the indecisiveness from that.
That's the name of this episode. Do you want ice cream? I love it. Let's go.
Hmm.
It's awesome. Let's see. We got Kenny Abbott says, didn't she get DQ'd from either Brainerd or Road America in the 400 class?
This, yes, not at Brainerd, in Road America. So I forgot to mention. So one year, I think it was the same year we did Laguna. We decided to do Road America also, and I forgot about this completely. It was so eventful, it stuck in my mind. Got out for both qualifying sessions and was DQ'd from both. The first time was because my rev limit wasn't set, so I was going beyond the 10.4 mark during the first qualifying session, and then the second qualifying session, my bike was too light. Rider and bike combined weight was too light, and so because of those two sessions, ended up getting disqualified.
Troublemaker. I called it at the beginning.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
absolutely.
I don't try.
She's like, I'm just naturally good at it. What can I say? It's one of my strengths.
Exactly.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Exactly. Let's go. I love it. Oh my God. He also says, yes, breathing does help. That's something that I say to my friends when I show up at either Azure or Precision Track Days or wherever it is in Moto America. I'm like, go out there. Just remember, have fun and breathe. I'll see you after the race. Yeah, breathing helps for sure. I noticed that sometimes when I first got into it, man, I'd notice myself. I'm like, I'm holding on too tense and this and that. And I'm like, I'm not even breathing. I need to start breathing. Right. And it's such a mental thing, riding fast at pace and learning to breathe. And there's certain parts on the track where you can, for a second, okay, I'm good. Right. And get back into it. And there's some tracks where you're just like, you're trying to get that oxygen and that blood going. So yeah, breathing's definitely, big one to see. Ron Nolan says, yeah, Kenny at RA Brainerd was her favorite track that year, if I recall. And that's facts. You did. Kenny also said, Chris, make sure you ask her about racing the 600. She's flying. Absolutely. We covered that for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Ron says, I never seen Jasmine bummed out. She has the best attitude I've seen of anyone I've raced with or crewed for.
I do have my pity parties. Usually they're alone in my trailer. But no, I do get my little pity parties, but you cry about it, you move on, and then you go back out and you get going with life.
That's it. Pick it up and just one foot in front of the other. Let's go. Ethan says, I like riding on a cloud. Brainerd is one of my favorite tracks. It make sense.
Exactly. Yeah,
A good buddy of mine said that the front of his bike felt like melting ice cream.
melting. I I couldn't even visualize that. What does that
Melting ice
mean?
cream. Well, I mean, I guess as you approach the corner
Okay.
and onto the brakes, it's like melting into the ground. And I
Like
was
the
like,
front's just diving.
yeah, just melting in the ground. I was like, that's a weird
I
zoology.
do. I like that. I'm gonna use that description from
Yeah,
now
there
to
you go.
describe that. But
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, how does your front feel, Jasmine? Like melting ice cream. Wait, what?
I'm gonna use the most obscure things to describe the bike from now on. I'm gonna do that. That's
Uh,
great.
that's hilarious. Oh my god. And then Ryan says, I don't think you're allowed to judge until you have been to Brainerd, Ethan, with a bunch of laughing emojis.
Ridiculous.
Kenny said, wish they'd run the big track at Brainerd. Yeah, for sure. Um,
Hmm.
Qualifying is a process. You have to understand how to get up to speed quick to be in the mix. It is. It's true. You know, it's
Hmm.
like that's one good thing about a strength that DeMario has, right? You see it,
Hmm.
it from the very start. He's just gone. A little bit
Hmm.
Casey Stunner-esque, right? Um, yeah, it's that again, mental, you know, cutting it all off, taking your brain out and putting it to the side and just let's go, right? And making it
Hmm.
happen. So yeah, for sure. So let's see. We got Kenny says, "Oh my God, I have the best Laguna '05 stories. Good. I can't wait to sit down and talk all about them
Perfect.
for sure." Let's see. Ryan says I could get back into shooting jazz, but then I couldn't race. You can do both, Ryan,
Hmm. Yeah.
for sure. That's hilarious. When I had Ryan on, we were talking about macaroni and cheese, favorite foods, and I sent him a couple
Oh,
box ideas
macaroni
of.
and cheese.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We'll get to all that, Jasmine, and we'll get to all that. But yeah, it's yeah, I'm a fan of macaroni and cheese. Okay, it's good. Like today for lunch, work threw everybody a pizza party. I was like, good, we're gonna eat some pizza
Mhm.
because I didn't even bring lunch. And they're like, yeah, we're ordering it from Little Caesars. I was like, yeah, I'm going out and go and get my own lunch. I'm not eating. I appreciate it. And they're like, you don't want
Mhm.
Little Caesars? I'm like, nope. I'm going to the sushi bar and I'm getting me a jalapeno crab
Oh.
roll and I'm bringing it
Mhm.
back and I'm gonna eat that. That's what I'm gonna have for lunch. So y'all
Mhm.
enjoy that, whatever it's called, because it's not pizza for
Mhm.
sure.
For
Yeah. So,
sure.
one question I do have: are you going to Daytona next weekend?
I am not gonna go to Daytona. I
Ooh.
will be supporting from the sidelines.
Ah, boo. Well, have you been to Daytona?
I have not. I haven't even visited just as a spectator. So hopefully one of these times I'll just go out there at least just to take a look and just see what it's like.
It,
Um,
you know, my first time was this year. Actually going to the Daytona 200. I mean, I grew up in Florida. I've been by there, but I mean, I was young. I didn't really. My dad, he was a fighter pilot, so he was gone. My mom's like, I ain't taking you to a motorcycle
mhm.
race, right? I'm like, let's go motorcycle race, please, mom. Anyway, finally ended up going, helping my good buddy Eddie K out at KSR Racing. So big shout out to Kyle and them. Thank you for fighting me on the team. But it was such a mega weekend that weekend. I met Keanu Reeves and Michael Dunlop, and I see my buddy Peter Hickman, and it was just it was a magical weekend, especially meeting Keanu. Right, I've been a huge fan of Keanu
Mhm.
my whole life growing up, my favorite actor. And real quick, funny story. So I had to work up the balls to even go up to him, right? Because it's like I was like, dude, you got this.
Mhm.
I'm having these conversations. I'm like, dude, you got
Yep.
this, Simcoe, blah blah. You got it. Just take your brain out and go do it, right? So I was like, all right, fuck it,
Mhm.
let's go. Walk up to him. I was like, Keanu, Simcoe, it's an absolute honor to meet you. I know you hear this all the time. I'm a huge fan, Johnny Utah. And he says, damn, you taking it back. I was like, bro, I'm a huge fan, right? I was like, but forget that. Let's talk about motorcycles, right? So we get in this whole motorcycle just conversation. And it was weird because
Mhm.
time just stopped almost. And it was just me and him in existence,
Mhm.
right? And then I turned around, I took 2 steps away, and all of a sudden the world went and fast forward again. And I was like, did that just really fucking happen? Are you kidding me right now? Right. And I look at my phone because I took
Mhm.
a picture. I was like, that just really happened. Right. And I go there, my dad, I'm like,
Mhm.
look, dad, I got a picture with
That's
Keanu.
great.
He's like, holy
Mhm.
shit. Yeah, it was yeah, but I'm going back next weekend to Daytona. At first I wasn't gonna make the trip, but things happen the way they're supposed to happen, and I'm gonna end up going, and it's an absolute honor. And I'm
Mhm.
actually going to be sitting down with my good buddy Kenny, and he offered me to come and commentate during the whole weekend at
Oh,
the
excellent.
at Daytona this weekend. Well, next weekend.
Mhm.
Uh, Never thought about commentating before. I'm super excited about
Mhm.
doing it. It's different than podcasting, but kind of the
I think
same.
you'll do good. I
Yeah,
think you'll do good.
it's one of those things where you just it's like it's right here in my own head, right? It's just
Mhm.
the nerves and it's just it's different but the same, but I'm gonna kill it. It's not gonna be an issue. It's gonna be so much fun. But yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm excited to see all my friends. I've had a bunch of my friends text me already. I was like, dude, you coming to Daytona? Yes, let's go.
Mhm.
Right. It's one of my favorite things to do is when I go to the race, obviously see my friends. One thing that I don't do a lot is take my phone out and take a bunch of videos. Right. People ask
Mhm.
me all the time, man, you got your phone out and doing this and doing that, right? It's because it's my only time to disconnect but stay connected, if that makes sense to me, meaning that when I show up, I finally get to see Jasmine, but it's we get to see face to face. I get to hug and we get to have those human interactions and those conversations. That's more important to
Mhm.
me than going around with my phone all weekend and saying, Jasmine, how's the weekend going? And blah, blah, blah. Right. There's always a time for that. Like here on the podcast. Or it'd be different if I come to you and said, hey, Jasmine, maybe around 4:30 today after you're done, you 3 hours after the session's done, maybe you can sit down for 10 minutes and have a little chat
Mhm.
on the podcast or whatever video. But I really enjoy the interactions that I have with my friends because it's the
Mhm.
only time I get to physically see all my friends at the track. So yeah, but I am going to start interviewing the fans, and this weekend, like I said, it's going to be different. I'm super
Mhm.
excited. Next weekend, I've been telling
Mhm.
everybody about it. It's yeah, you can tell I'm smiling. I'm excited. I
Yes,
can't
I'm
wait.
excited
Yeah,
for you. It's
thank you,
gonna be
thank
great.
you. Yeah, it's going to be. It's yeah, I finally get to meet Kenny, and we've had a lot of phone conversations. We've hit it off, and man, we just got so much in common. Just like me and you and all my friends. It's just an honor to be able to do this and reach out and yeah, make all these friends. So yeah,
Mhm.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Kenny says, same. I really have my phone out at the track to do media. Yeah, it's the same thing, man. I just want to have that human, hugs, high fives, smiles. It's way more important than a stupid Facebook post or whatever, right?
Mhm.
I'm a slave to social media. I gotta be honest. I'm not a fan of social media, right?
Mhm.
But unfortunately, doing what I do, got to be that slave to social media. So, which is also
Mhm.
important in our sport now. It used to not be social media
Mhm.
in the sport. And Ethan says, "See you guys at Daytona then." Can't wait, Ethan. It's going to be absolutely proper mega to finally meet my friend for sure. So, listen, Jamie, this has been a lot of fun. I want to get away from all this motorcycle talk, and I want to
Okay.
get to know you more personally and what we do away from the track. Well, what you do away from the
Mhm.
track. So my first question to you is tell us something that we don't know about you at all.
Um, First thing that comes to mind, you're gonna be upset at me for this since you like mac and cheese. I really don't like cheese. I really dislike it fairly heavily. Mac and cheese is probably my least favorite food ever.
She said,
Unless we're doing Kraft mac and cheese, like the fake mac and cheese with like the powder, like, the not mac and cheese. I'm okay with that. But, you know, real cheese, it's not for me.
she said, I hate it. I can't stand it. Yeah, it is. I'm not a big fan of the powdered box mac and cheese. Some of it's good. I'm not a big fan of most box anything, but some of the boxes are okay. I'd rather make it, from homemade, the noodles, and you put whatever
Mhm.
cheeses and the milks and the creams and all
Oh,
that
so you
stuff.
do the
So
fancy stuff.
yeah, I like to cook.
Mhm.
I get it from my mom. So thanks, mom,
Mhm.
for sure.
What do you like to cook?
Everything. I eat
Okay.
everything. Well, I'm not a big pork eater.
Mhm.
I do like, biscuits and gravy every couple years. I'll make it like 2 or 3 times a year. Same
Mhm.
thing with like sausage and bacon. I'm just not a big, if I make homemade cheese dip and I'll do like chorizo and chicken or sausage and hamburger in it when I make my homemade cheese dip and stuff like that. But pork chops and stuff, no. I love Thai food, Indian food, spicy
Mhm.
food. Which is my wife's complete opposite. She's plain Jane, right? She's like, I just want chicken and pizza or lasagna or whatever. Where I'm
Mhm.
just like, I gotta add this and make it
Yep.
spicy and do this, right? So when
Mhm.
I do cook for us, I'll start it out the main way she likes it and then scoot hers to the side in a different
Mhm.
pan
Add
and then
some
I'll
butter to yours.
yeah, and then make mine the way it is and sit there and faces
Mhm.
sweating and nose running and she's like, I don't see how you do it. I'm just like, it's good. Let's go. So yeah, it's awesome. What do you do for work?
Actually this week started a new job. This place is called Green Acre Storage, and basically working as a salesman at a storage place right now. Get to rent out trucks, get to rent out storage units. They weren't gonna start me on phone calls for another 2 weeks, but I started phone calls yesterday and made a couple of sales already, which I have background in sales. I worked at a dealership, um, probably at this point last early January. I worked at a dealership. I was sales and then moved down to service. So I'm used to sales. I'm okay with sales, so it's no big deal at all. It's fairly easy to just answer calls and give the people what they want.
That's right. I love
Mhm.
it. Hey, if you rent a storage unit from us, when you show up, you get some ice cream. Why not? Right? We throw that
We
in as a
we could
bonus.
we
Let's
could
go.
make that happen. That's not a bad promotion idea. I bring that up.
You go. Right? Oh my god, I love it. What's your worst habit?
My worst habit?
Yep.
Probably being on my phone a little more than I should be.
I think we're all
Probably.
guilty of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably my worst one.
I'm a I'm always a go type of person. I feel
Mhm.
like if I sit down for an hour, I feel like I wasted my day and I got to do something. But there are those times where I'm a bad procrastinator. I'm like, yeah, I got to do laundry. It's okay.
I
I'll
do
do
it
it
too.
next week. And then I'll do it next week. And next thing I know, it's like this big. So I do my own laundry. My wife does her laundry and I do me and my sons and we split the towels and all that stuff up. I'm just funny when it comes to washing my clothes. Right.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's something I do for sure.
Mhm.
Audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Is that something you do too as well?
It does not.
No?
If
You
I
don't read?
do, what's that?
You read?
Okay, at this point, occasionally, I don't do too much anymore. Every now and again, I'll find just a story online and I'll get into it. I don't know what audiobooks you generally like. When I do read, I like all like the fantasy, make believe, fiction stuff.
Like
That's
Star
kind
Wars?
of what's that?
Star Wars?
I enjoy Star Wars. It's not like my if I'm looking for something, sci-fi or fantasy, my mind doesn't like go to Star Wars, but if it's on, I will watch it with
I
people. I
love it.
understand the references, it's good. I
Yeah,
enjoy it.
I love it. Oh my god! So audio, man. I listen to, of course, any motorcycle racing audiobook I've listened to. One of the best ones out there that I've heard. Everybody's got their own, proper mega journey in their own book, but John Hopkins. I mean, Hopper. Yeah, John Hopkins. His book was
Okay.
absolutely leathered. I highly recommend it. People need to go and either read it or listen to an audiobook. I'm a big audiobook because when I read books, it makes me sleepy, unless it's my
Mhm.
shop manual for my motorcycles, right? Where an audiobook, I could be at work, I could throw it in and it just takes, my mind
Mhm.
off, the stresses of whatever I'm going through and I can just focus on my job and or
Mhm.
music, but I really enjoy the audiobooks for sure. The one I'm currently listening to, and that's actually a long book. I've been listening to it for a hot minute. It's called Always Murder. When I say it, change your mind, change your diet.
Mhm.
I went on this big weight loss a while ago. I mean, I used to weigh like almost 280 pounds, 270 pounds. I was in a 40 waist. I'm in a 34 waist now. I'm 202. I weighed
Mhm.
myself this morning.
Nice.
All that's got to do with uh, changing my diet, of course, but listening to what my body's telling me as I eat food.
Mhm.
Um, only eating the size of my fist because that's as big as my stomach, not overeating and all that, right? And then I implemented a lot of fasting. So I do intermittent fasting. The longest I've done was
Mhm.
3 days so far. I want
Mhm.
to try to do a week
Oh,
without eating, fasting, just straight up, just water only.
well, good luck with that. I
So
I hope it works out.
I can do it. I believe I can do it. I've done 3, so I don't see what, two
Mhm.
more is going to do. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's podcast. Do you listen to any podcast?
There's one podcast that I listen to fairly often. It's called Distractable. It all kind of started. Maybe you know the guy. It's a YouTuber who started a podcast with his friends. On YouTube, he's known as Markiplier, but basically him and his friends, they will come up with the most random topics. Like the name suggests, it's meant to distract you, but it's incredibly funny. Usually the podcasts are like an hour-ish long, but they're hilarious. They, like I said, there's no set topic, and they both there's three of them. So one person will come up with a topic, and there's no guidelines unless they decide there's guidelines that episode. Um, and the two other people, they'll give their points or their ideas or whatever it is they can come up with in that moment, to try and persuade whoever the judge is, to let them win the podcast. And if they win, they get to host the next one. But it's like a little competition element thing in there, but it's really funny in my opinion.
Yeah, I might have to check it out for sure. I listen to obviously a lot of podcasts, some motorcycle podcasts, but it just depends. It's just like music, right? It depends on what mood I'm in. I'm like, oh, I want to listen to Danny Jones today, or Joe Rogan, or Pipe Dreams, or Off Track, right? Yeah, Off Track. So there's two Off Tracks people. People hear me, and this is a question I get all the time. What do you mean that there's two? So I got a good mate of mine, Dave Neal, has a podcast out in the UK called Off Track Podcast, and then of course Brothers in Christ, Moto America, Off Track Podcast. And then I listen to, of course, my wife got me into like the crime. I love horror movies, right, and all that stuff. So I'm into all that gory stuff. I can't really. My wife used to work in a hospital, and she loves the poppers and all that. And I'm like, I can't watch that. Like, ew, gross. But
I like watching that too. That's nice. It's satisfying.
That's what my wife says. Right? I don't see nothing satisfying about. But okay, whatever. You do you, boo boo. I'm gonna go over here and watch two-wheel racing. But yeah, it's man, it's just one of those things. I just listen to whatever, really, whatever mood I'm in. I'm currently listening to an episode of Danny Jones right now, and it's really interesting because it's the title of it is Cutting Open 7,000 Bodies, Epstein Autopsy, and the Idaho 4 Massacre. So I was like, gotta listen to this one, right? Real quick, Kenny says Jasmine can be our podcast sponsor salesperson. Let's go. Great idea, Kenny.
I can do that for you.
No, we got our first salesperson. Yes, let's go.
I did some marketing for the dealership also, so I can do that. I'm gonna have to do door-to-door sales with this place, so I can help.
You're on the team. Hired. No problem. So I got to get you a bunch of stickers in the mail and some merch to get. Yes, I got you 100%.
All right,
so
let's get this going.
We will. I'm serious. For real. Vay says, you coming to Daytona?
I am not. Unfortunately.
I'll be there, but she won't. But she'll be there in spirit. Well, you know what I'll do is we'll do a FaceTime. So I'll do a FaceTime call. I'll go around the paddock and you can say hi to everybody.
Exactly.
And so you'll be there.
Practically be there.
Practically be there. I got you. See, that's what friends are for.
In spirit.
Yeah, they're in spirit. That's right. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
I've thought of this before. So
everybody has.
So I read this online and I really like the idea. But it's the ability to change probability. So what's the probability that there's going to be $1,000 of cash in my wallet if I open it right now? Change that to 100%, open it, it's there because I just changed probability. What's the chances I can just suddenly learn how to fly by jumping off this building, make it 100, and maybe.
Never heard that before. I like it.
I read it online, so it's not an original thought, but I read that and I was like, we're onto something there. I don't know what you probably have to do you get this superpower, but it comes with this drawback. Like that power would be kind of OP. You need to add something like that in, but that would probably be it.
I think mine, I put a lot of thought. It's actually changed a couple times, but I've been pretty stern on, dude, I'd love to teleport. Like I could be like, hey, Jasmine, we're going to do a live podcast. I'll literally be there in like 3 minutes. Cool. If I come by, you're like, yeah, I'm like, boom, I got all my setup. We're there. We're physically there. And after the podcast, okay, cool. We'll get some ice cream real quick before I roll out. Okay, yeah, blah, blah. And then boom, I'm back at home, right? Same thing. Instead of driving or flying somewhere, BSB, ASBK, wherever it is, Isle of Man TT. I'm like, hey, I'm going to the TT. I'll see you guys later. I'm there, right? So that'd be, that's what I would do for sure. Teleportation.
That's a good one.
Ethan says, crewing for Team Shocker again, partying it up for 21-2. LOL. Let's freaking go. Love it. Love it. Do you have any tattoos?
I do not.
No.
Nope.
Okay. And plans on getting any tattoos?
Not
No.
time soon.
What are your goals in racing, Jasmine?
At this point, I think just really just being consistent in club racing and progressively getting better. Um, it'd be great to do maybe a few drop-in rounds at Moto America. I don't know that I do a full season of Moto America. Um, but just getting more and more consistent. I think eventually maybe winning a championship would be the best thing and what I really want. Even just getting a first place at this point, I would be stoked. But I think that's my goal right now.
Well, all your goals you just said, I hope you achieve them 10 times over. Huge fan right here, and
Thank
you're
you.
going
I
to do
appreciate
it. Yeah, 110%. You got this, Jasmine. You're going to go out there, you're breaking hearts already. They're not ready for you. That's all I'm saying. They're just not ready. So, yeah, that's freaking awesome. I said this earlier to you, and you had some time to think about it. So, go to karaoke song.
Oh no, I forgot about that. Um, um, I have so many songs. You haven't even seen my playlist. Um, can we circle back to that question?
Yeah, we can circle back to that question
Okay,
for sure.
I'm gonna pull up my
Uh,
list on the side.
oh my God. Where did you get your race number from?
So right now my race number is 17. So I don't I think the reason I chose that number when I first started racing, my dad said, "Give me three numbers that you want to be your number, and if they're available, we'll make them that." So I gave 11, 17, and 25. Um, I wanted 11 because 11 was the age I started racing. 17 I really liked because it's my birthday, 0107. But I also just really like the number 1 and really like the number 7, so my two favorite numbers right there. And 25 was just, this is gonna sound dumb, but that Christmas I had gotten my pet dog Sasha, and so 25 was like, oh, Christmas, and I got worst decision I ever made. So I hate the number 25 now because my number was 25 for years. And then when we moved up to the bigger bikes, I was so happy that I would get to change my number from 25. But my dad thought I was okay with the number 25, so my number was 825. And so I kept that number the whole time I'm on the 400 but feel like a pro. Then we go to Moto America, and 25 wasn't available, thank God. But 82 was. So I ended up with 82. And then finally, literally last season, I changed my number to 17, which is the number I've been wanting for years now. So that's the story behind 17. It's my birthday, and I love the number 7 and the number 1, my favorite numbers.
I love it. I love it. If you could travel back to any era of time, where would you travel back to?
Oh.
She's like, I'm not prepared for none of these questions you're asking me, right? We didn't go over
Yeah,
none of
I
this.
haven't
That's
thought of
right, we
this one.
did. Yeah.
I mean, would I be like present to where people can interact with me, or would I just simply see what's going on?
That's up to you. Any era. Like what would you, like me, I would like to, I mean, there's a bunch of eras I like. Like I'd like to go see how the pyramids were built or,
Ooh.
stuff like that.
Um,
Or go back in the 1800s in the Western days, right? You got to argue with somebody, you just shoot them on right off on your horse and you're
why would
good
I
to
do
go,
that?
right? I don't know.
I'd kind of be interested to go back during like the industrial period, just to see how everything was going, how everything was built. All the up and coming companies, see kind of what their competition is, what their strategies were, maybe more from a business side. I'd be curious to see how they went about that during that period.
Yeah. Yeah, it would. Yeah, that's never thought of it that way, but yeah, you're right. Um, what changes would you like to currently see done in our sport?
Oh, maybe, I mean, off the top of my head, it's And I don't know how attainable this is. This, in the end, racing, you have to treat, especially the organizations, like a business. It's not just a for funsy thing that it costs nothing. But initially in my head, it's just making it not maybe more accessible or more or a little cheaper, just for those who are maybe starting out or getting into it. Because it seems like it's a lot just to get going and get started. So that might turn a lot of people off unless they have friends or maybe they know of a bike rental company, which is like what Feel Like a Pro was, where you just come and you rent the bike, maybe some gear, so you can kind of get your feet wet and see what it's all about. I think there would be more people willing to jump into it if they could just experience what it is without dumping so much money into it just to get started. Um,
Yeah.
but in the end, I mean, each race organization, you got to run it like a company, like a business. If it's not making money, it's not going to stick around. So I understand that. So it's just figuring out how to basically bridge the gap and make it better for both sides.
Agreed. Right. The one thing, and I talk about all the time, I think a big missed opportunity to get people into knowing about track days or Moto America events coming on starts simply at our local dealerships.
Mm-hmm.
Most people
Just
walk in the
getting the word out.
door. Yeah, I mean, you go to any local dealerships around me, you go in there and there's nothing about Moto America, nothing about
Mm-hmm.
VIR, nothing about corner spin, corner speed, ASRA, precision
Mm-hmm.
track days,
As soon as you leave
into
the
track
stand, the sport
days.
guys.
They're just worried about the units they can sell, right? And that's it. So there's just a huge missed opportunity in my opinion. I even went down there and talked to the manager. Was like, look, I'm some guy. I have a podcast. I would love to come down here and set up a table and talk to people coming in the door, or stand outside about club racing and the events we got coming up, and just put the word out there and getting people involved more in our sport, right? Kenny says, don't get me started, Chris. Listen, I'm telling you, I bang my head against the wall. It's something I don't truly understand. It's like our industry got away from uh, the dealerships kind of separated themselves from racing. It used to be,
Mm-hmm.
race on Sunday, sell on Monday. That's not the way it is anymore. So it's,
I think so. From me working at the dealership, kind of what I was seeing, and because I had contact with some of the other dealerships where I'm located at here in Iowa now, I'm in the land of corn. I'm surrounded by cornfields, so it's a lot of farmers. And the ones that do ride around here, they're more comfort, cruiser oriented. And so just trying to advertise the sport bike, racing, that doesn't work around here. But when I've made a couple of connections now, other dealerships who were sport bike related. Um, it's just not selling as much as the cruisers are. Especially around here, there's not a whole lot of twists and turns. A lot of it's straight. I mean, Iowa's basically like a grid laid out. And so for the dealerships, the money, I mean, how much money do you really get from the racers or the sport bike enthusiasts? Not as much as the cruisers or, the adventure bike riders. So by gearing your sales and your business towards them, you can draw more of them in. So as a business, that is the best thing they can
yeah.
do, even if, they would like to sell more sport bikes, but that's just not where the market is at right now. At
I
least
mean,
I'm seeing around me.
it's but what about dirt bike racing, dirt bike trail riding,
Mhm.
flat track racing? I mean, you guys do
Mhm.
that out there in Iowa, right? That's something you
Not
know.
so not that I know of. I know when I worked at the dealership, we sold maybe a handful of dirt bikes, but if anyone did buy it, they bought like a dual sport because they weren't
Yeah,
going to seriously ride, but they just wanted it for on and off road. But I couldn't speak on the dirt side just because I'll be honest, I wasn't paying too much attention to that when I was selling stuff. It was usually dual sports or like side by sides.
yeah. It's side by side. My buddy bought a side by side. It's fun to drive or whatever.
Oh,
It's
what
a
do you get?
money pit. It's uh Can-Am Maverick turbo thing. Yeah, it's fast as shit. I got that thing. I was like, holy shit.
Wait,
He's like, dude, we're gonna go jump
did
this
you
thing.
get
I'm like,
you said which one was it? The X?
um,
Was it
whatever
RX? What?
turbo it is, it's fast
Okay.
as shit. You just don't. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm
Okay.
like, no,
Okay.
yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
it's but every time he takes it out, he's breaking axles. He's like, yeah, I just broke another axle. I'm like, bro,
Ooh.
sell that thing. Get
Maybe
pop
don't go
up,
flying at, bumps and hills.
buy another bike. That's what you need. Buy
exactly.
another bike. Forget that, right? So let me ask you this, Jasmine. For all the women out there that are looking into getting to the sport, what advice do you have for them?
Um, Really just finding a close-knit group of friends to go with. Because I'll say when I started, it was just me and my dad and my mom would come occasionally, but as you get going, you start building a bigger group of people and with I don't so with my experience, I haven't been talked down on a lot, at least in my face, right in front of me. I was lucky and I haven't gotten to experience, people saying, oh, a girl shouldn't be on track. If they do say it, it never reaches me. I think partially because of the people I surround myself with. If any of them do hear it, they're kind of my buffer. So if a woman wants to go to a track, I would recommend just having just some people there to go with you, even if they're not motorcycle related, but they can go with you and they can be your support. So if you do hear something, you don't have to worry about it because you have your whole support system there. And a lot of it's just drowning out the noise. I mean, why is someone complaining about you being out on track? Just mind your own business.
That's
So
it.
it
You
really
got
it's
go
really
ahead.
just it's having a close knit group of friends, I think. I think that would help a lot of people.
100%. And you girls belong here just as much as we do. It's fact. So I love it. I want to see more women get in the sport for sure. That's why I'm a huge fan of BTR. And I told you this before we
Mhm.
went live. It does wonderful things. It opens up new doors and different sponsorships and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely good for the sport for sure. Do you have any hidden talents we don't know about?
About hidden.
Like, can you lick your elbow or something weird like that?
I can't lick my elbow.
I touch your nose with your tongue.
I can't do that either. Like physical abilities? That's not really a talent. I mean, I can burp on command, but that's not really like cool or anything,
Do
but
it. Do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
We'll save that for part two then.
Okay.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it. That's freaking awesome. What's one thing you can't live without?
Ooh.
Like
In what respect are we talking?
daily from day to day basis. Like for me, obviously it's mandatory. You can't sell your cell phone. I mean, that's everybody can't live without
Okay.
the cell phone, right? So you can't say that. So like me, um, I'm this is something people don't know. I'm weird, right? So here, let me just share. I got a buttload of
Okay.
sunglasses, right? So depending on oh, that's the wrong way. Let's see. I can change my camera around. So am I going the right way? Yeah, I think I am. Yeah. So I got a whole rack right here of sunglasses,
Mhm.
right? And I got some in my truck, so
Oh
I'm weird.
my.
So what I'll do is I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna wear this pair on this day. I'm gonna wear this pair on this day, and I end up bringing like 4 or 5 pairs of sunglasses
So you
wherever
pl
I
you
go.
plan your outfits around your sunglasses.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, maybe, yeah. And I'm a big fan of pinks. Everybody knows that, right? So I got pink
Okay.
shoes and my shirts and all that.
Mhm.
So it's yeah, that, and so I can't live without that. And of course, I got to have my earbuds with me, right?
Mhm.
Because I listen to music or podcasts or audiobooks. So those are probably the two main things that I usually take with me. Contacts, I
Mhm.
got my solution with me. Um, yeah, or my glasses in case I got to throw my contacts away.
Mhm.
Weird like that. Yeah, that's probably is that it? Oh, and anything with two wheels.
Mhm.
Most of my 99.9% of my clothes are motorcycle related. I don't have very few clothes at all. I'm talking about shirts and sweatshirts and
Mhm.
jackets. Let's say out of the 100 shirts I have, right? I got four maybe that's non motorcycle related. So
Mhm.
everything I wear and everything I have involves two wheels
Mhm.
till I die.
Perfect. That's how it should be.
Facts. It's exactly how it should be, right? 100. So what's one thing
Mhm.
you can't live without?
Um, for me, I mean, if we're gonna not state the obvious, like writing or phones, for me, it's gonna be tea, like just like some hot tea. I have fairly large collection now. Like that's what I got next to me, and that's what I've been drinking. I drink probably 2 to 3 cups a day of just tea. On days where I'm like at home doing whatever. I can drink up to about 5 cups, and it's something I do every day. It's a comfort. That's like the first thing I do in the morning, turn on the teapot. Kind of a habit there before I go to bed, have some tea. It's just, I don't know. It's just a thing I really enjoy doing. I love collecting tea, so for me, I love tea.
Are, do you have a little bit of UK in you?
I am Russian.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. It's I wish I'd have known that because when I went to Cadwell Park BSB in 23. If I'd have known you, then I'd have definitely brought you some uh UK tea home. Matter of fact,
Mhm.
I'm a coffee drinker. I do drink tea. So I don't drink soda at all, right? I got
Mhm.
ADHD. I don't take any medicine. So growing up, my parents didn't. I didn't have hardly. Of course, I got cake and ice cream on my birthdays, and they
Mhm.
splurged. But for the most part, it was water and fruits and vegetables, no
Mhm.
dyes or any of that. So getting into adulthood, I don't drink soda and a lot of tea, and I like tea. But if I drink it, it like makes me within 3 minutes like I have got to go to the bathroom. No matter what, I don't care where I'm at. I could take 2 or 3 sips of that or a soda, and I immediately
Mhm.
got to go to the bathroom. Right? It's because I'm not used to having it. Um, but when I was over there in the UK, I remember I woke up, I went downstairs, and they had the table out. They had coffee and tea, and I'm looking at it, and I was like, "What should I get? I'm in the UK. Do I want coffee or tea?" And I was like, "I'm getting both because I can." So I
Mhm.
sit down with my thing, and the lady's like, "What are you drinking over there?" I was like, "I'm American, so I got coffee here, and I got your guys' tea right here." And she's like, "Which do you like better?" And I'm like, "You just put me on the spot. I don't know yet, right?" So I started
Mhm.
sipping them. I was like, I come to really like the hot tea in the morning. It's good.
Mhm.
It's different. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Do you cook? Are you a cooker?
Yeah, I like trying out new recipes and stuff, so I'm a Pinterest user, so I go on there constantly. I got like over 200 pins on just food alone. I've tried a few of them. I made it before, but I made ratatouille like a few nights ago again just because it looked good on the movie, so I tried it.
Is it good?
It is. It's really good. If you make it the traditional way, it's good, but it's not very filling just because it's basically all just vegetables, so there's not a whole lot of like carbs in there. So if you want to try it out, you can because you don't got a lot of carbs in there or anything, so it's not very filling for me. So I modified it to where it doesn't, you don't normally like put potatoes in it, but I have taken little slices of potatoes to put it in there. In my opinion, it works really well. It's a meatless dish, but I added Italian sausage just because I think it adds a good flavor. I think if you paired chicken with it, that could be really good too. But yeah, I like experimenting with different recipes and stuff. Not really a baker though.
No,
Um,
I'm not a baker neither.
if I do make anything like that, I'll make, well, I don't know if it'd qualify. I'd make crepes, but that's more cooking than baking. But it has the same recipe principle as baking.
It
But
does.
yeah.
It does. I like to cook too. What's on your bucket list? Do you have any specific thing on your bucket list you want to do? Me, I'm gonna tell you, Isle of Man
Mhm.
TT. It's. I want to go to the Isle of Man. It is
Mhm.
top priority on my bucket list. To me, when it comes to racing, the TT is by far my favorite race ever,
Mhm.
hands down. So to me, it's TT, then BSB, and then after BSB, it's all other racing. Moto America, Moto GP, World
Mhm.
Superbike. Those are my two main
Mhm.
classes. I want to go to the TT so
Mhm.
bad, and I'm gonna make it
TT
one
would
year.
be cool. I definitely do want to go to that also. Um, I feel like the only thing that I had really on my bucket list for the longest time was skydiving, and I was able to do that earlier this year. Also, I don't know that I'd do it again. I know I've talked to so many people that would say I'd do it again, but after doing it and thinking it over for a while, I don't know that I want to do it again. It was so scary. I wanted to do it since I was 13, but I finally did it, and
Love it. I did it. That's how come over my favorite heights was skydiving when I was at MMI in Phoenix, Arizona. I told
hmm.
my buddies because my buddies knew I was scared of heights. They're like, "You big pussy," blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I'm staying on the ground."
Hmm.
So when I moved to Phoenix, I was like, "Hey, if you guys actually come see me, we'll go skydiving when you
Hmm.
guys come out here." Right? Thinking to myself, "They ain't coming to see me. I'm safe. I'm safe. This is
Hmm.
good. I'm 3,000 miles away. They're not coming." Next thing I know, they call me up. They're like, "Hey, we're coming down for these 2 weeks on this month," and I was like, "I gotta go skydiving,"
Mhm.
right? So it was absolutely super scary. Skydive Marina in Phoenix, Arizona. It was 11,500 feet. Got the tank top. I remember. I'll never forget. It's like first track day, putting on the leathers. This story we told earlier, right? So I remember walking in this place and I'm shitting myself, literally sweating bullets. Like,
Mhm.
I do not want to do this, but there's 5 of my friends here. I'm not going to punk out. So the guy comes up. He's like, "Hey, I need you guys to sign these waivers and you got to do this whole paperwork, blah, 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 the driver's license,
Mhm.
blah, whatever." Get all done with that. They're like, "Okay, cool. We're going in this room." It's literally like a 10-minute video. It's
Mhm.
from having fun, people puking on each other, and all the stuff in
Mhm.
between. And I was thinking to myself, stuff in between. That's what I took. That's what I heard. The stuff in between. What's he
Mhm.
talking about? We get in there and it's fun and it's this and it's that. And it's like, unfortunately, sometimes, death happens and all this. And I'm like,
Like,
oh shit. Right.
mhm.
Right. They gotta, he's like, by law,
Yeah.
we got to. That's why I got to sign a waiver. So I'm like, okay, cool. So after that, we
Mhm.
get out there and I remember the guy looking at me and he sees the fear in my eyes, right? Like I'm just
Mhm.
this. Who wants to go first? Nobody said. We was all talking shit. Yeah, I'm gonna go first. Blah blah blah. I didn't say nothing, right? I'm like, I ain't going first. I already know that.
Mhm.
So my buddy was like, I'm gonna go first. And then my dumbass says, I'm gonna go second. And I was like, fuck, why did you say that? I don't want to go second. And they're like,
Uh-huh.
okay, cool, let's go. So, we hear my buddy Richard, he's screaming when he gets close enough. You hear him screaming, hooping, and hollering. And they're like, okay, it's your turn. So I get in this plane, and it's a single seater just for the pilot.
Mhm.
And my back is literally up against the pilot's right here. My back's here. My feet's out here. The dude I'm jumping with straight ahead, and his feet's literally like right here. The whole time, this dude says nothing, right?
Mhm.
And his eyes are closed, and there's a slot in the door. It's like this wide, and I'm sitting there staring outside, and I'm looking at this dude, and I'm staring back outside, and everything's getting smaller, and this dude, nothing. So finally, I grab his foot, and I'm like, bro, like, what are you doing? You are freaking me out. Like you are really freaking me out right now.
Uh-huh.
He did this is That's all he says. He looks at me. He says, what altitude we at?" He's like, "We're 8,000, 9,000. We're approaching." It was like 11,000 something we jumped out of. He says, "You're jumping out this plane, and I'll see you here in a few minutes." And just closes his eyes and lays his head back. And I was like, "Oh
He's having a
shit!"
moment.
I was like, "I'm in a horror flick right now. Like, what do I do?" Like, I've
Uh-huh.
seen this on TV before, right?
Mhm.
So the pilot says, "All right, we're at altitude," and the dude just jumps up and he's like, "Okay, I need you to grab onto the dash, like we went over."
Mhm.
I remember grabbing onto the dash so he can clip in because it was tandem. And I remember looking over at the pilot, and I just see these row of smiling teeth looking at me because he sees the fear of death. And he says, "Are you okay?" And I didn't say no. I just looked at him and I was like, like, I'm not
Uh-huh.
okay, right? And he just laughs. So the dude opens up the door. There's this little platform, and there's a
Mhm.
handle. And he's like, "Yeah, grab the handle, take your right foot, step on the platform." And by then, I'm halfway out the plane already, right? And it was just this. It was one of the most exhilarating, best experience I've ever had in my
Mhm.
life because I looked at my fear in the face and I made that leap of faith, right? And jumped
Mhm.
and I got through it. Would I do it again? Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. You're right.
Mhm.
It's just maybe. It's you sit down and think about it. And you're like, and then I go through my mind how
Mhm.
scared I was. But then I come out the other side and I'm like, oh, I was good, right? It was fun.
Yeah. I
Not
think for
really.
me, my experience was kind of similar. I was so excited, and then once I got in the plane, and I'm not a huge fan of flying, just because I'd rather drive around than fly, but it's whatever. So we got in the plane, and I was already strapped into my lady, and we're towards the back, and we're going up to. Do we do 9,000? 9,000, 8,000, whatever the highest one was that specific company allowed or that they did. So we did that. Got on the plane, and there's a decent group of us, and as we're going up, there's different stages. So we're like dropping off people as we're going higher, and I just, I'm just watching them fly. I'm like, oh my god, they're like little bugs that just like go flying off.
Little minions.
Exactly. And we get to the top, and it's just me and one of our friends. She has done this so many times at this point, and she was just gonna do it with me, so I didn't have to do it myself. And I said, "You're going first," because I don't. Just when it comes to most things, I'm like, "Oh, just let someone else go first, so I could watch it happen, so I know what to prep for, what to
I know
expect."
what not to do.
Exactly. But then she's like, "No, no, it's your first time. You're going first." So I'm like, "Okay, we got this." And so we started, like, my lady's like scooting me towards the edge because I'm all the way towards the front of the plane. You got to get to the back, and she's scooting me forward. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is happening!" And we walk up to the platform. We grab the bar, and I like look back at my friend, and she's like, "Okay, we're gonna jump on 3." And once she gets to 2, I'm screaming already. She's like, 1, 2, and as soon as she says 3, go flying out. And my friend, she watched all this. She's like, I could just hear you screaming at the top of your lungs as you're falling. I mean, it was, I mean, I couldn't hear myself screaming as I'm falling, so I tried to scream louder just to hear myself, but I can't hear anything at all. So eventually, once I realized I can't hear myself, I settled down. I'm still freaking out, but I settled down like, well, I can't hear myself scream, so there's no point in screaming. It's not doing anything. So as I'm falling, my with the pressure changes, they didn't tell me to like pop my ears or anything. So it hurt so badly just to have your ears just like pop for you. That hurt quite a bit. So I think if had I known to do that, I think I'd be a little bit more apt to do the experience again. But it was once I calmed down and I was able to kind of look around, it was very pretty, it was very
It
scenic,
was.
but
Yeah.
I kept thinking about like, man, I could be a human pancake here in a second. What's the last thing I want to think about before I die? That's what I'm thinking of as I'm falling. I couldn't think of anything at all. I'm just thinking of what to think of, if that makes sense. Then she lets me pull the little thing, the chute deploys. I'm like, oh, okay, we survived. We did it. This is okay. And she's like, you want to do a little spin? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do a little spin. She yanks out. We do like a little death spiral going down. I'm screaming again. Then she settles down. She's like, okay, we can go slow. And she lets me steer it a little bit. And I jerk it just a little, and it barely moves. And I'm freaking out. I thought I was going to be like way more brave about this whole experience, because I've been wanting to do it since I was little. I wanted to do it for my 18th birthday, but it didn't work out because we were out in Iowa in January, and Iowa doesn't work. So did it earlier this year, and it was good. I liked the landing the best because I was done with it, and it took me time to process it. My dad, he was just like, I thought you'd be way more like pumped up and stuff. I'm like, I mean, I am. I need to think about it. I need to think about how I'm feeling about this. But it was a good experience. I'm really glad I got to do it, but it's iffy if I would do it again. Maybe if I went with someone who either they were also iffy, or if they were like doing it for the first time, then maybe I would be like, okay, I'll go with you just as, we could do this. This is fine. But on my own to do it, I don't know that I'd want to. It's
It,
scary.
it's funny you mentioned about the spinning thing. That's one thing. When you opened up the chute, he was like, "Yeah, if you pull them down like this, you almost come to a dead stop." I didn't realize you practically
Mhm.
come to a dead stop in midair, right? I was like, "Oh, this is fun. This is fucking cool, right? Like, let's go."
Mhm.
He's like, "Hey, you want to do some spins?" And I was like, "Not really." He's like, "Well, too bad." And he yanks down on the thing, and all of a sudden, man, I felt
That's
my
great.
shit slobbered all in my face. And I said, dude, if you do not stop, I swear I'm gonna puke all over you. And he's laughing, right? He's like, okay, I'm gonna stop.
That's great.
We fall some more. He's like,
Mhm.
left hand, bam, and we start doing it again. And I'm just like, it's slobber all down my face. I was like, bro,
Oh.
I think I'm gonna puke if you don't stop. Right. Fortunately, I did not puke, right? But I
Uh-huh.
do remember that very
That would have made a good
vividly.
story.
Yeah, I was trying my best. I mean, it got to about right here, and I was like, I'm not
Oh.
doing it. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just because it was just, I don't know. Because if nobody's ever done it, what we're talking about, it's like you literally feel this big because the world's so big
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything's so small. But when you spin, everything like it magnifies, and it made
Mhm.
me instantly almost sick. And I'm,
Mhm.
yeah, almost this close to
I wasn't
Yeah.
dizzy for mine. I was just horrified. I'm like, oh my gosh, a bird's gonna come hit us while we're spinning, and it's gonna like all crumple up. We're gonna fall, or as we're spinning, the wind's gonna kick it up, and then it was just gonna. I don't know. I was just thinking about all of this stuff that could go wrong versus just being in the moment. I kept trying to tell myself to be in the moment, but it's really hard. But no,
Facts. Very hard to be in the
it was
moment.
funish.
Funnish. I love it. It was funnish. Kenny says, my wife and I jumped at the same time with a group on her 40th birthday from
Oh, that's
15,000
cool.
feet. Crazy. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if nobody's experienced, highly recommended.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Jamie, we're 2 hours into this
Oh
podcast.
goodness.
I told you it was gonna go by super quick, right?
Mhm.
So we're getting ready in this podcast, but going back to the question that I asked you earlier, have you thought about it? Go to karaoke
Oh
song?
my God. You're gonna hate me, but
I'm not going to.
here, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do a random scroll. Let's see, this song. Oh yeah, this is the song I get to pick. Granny in the Club by Nick Nocturnal and Alleviate.
There we
That's
go.
the song.
You guys heard it first. Well, listen, Jamie, Jasmine, this has been a lot of fun. It's been an absolute honor to sit down with you tonight. I'm gonna let you end the podcast, give all your shout outs, but just down with me for a few minutes after this. We're just gonna go ahead and
Mhm.
schedule our next one real quick. First thing that I want to say is listen, thank you guys and girls so much for all the likes and subscribes, all the love that I get. It would not be possible without Jasmine and everybody else coming on this podcast. I love each and every single one of you. It means so much to me. You guys, girls don't even understand. Again, because of you, I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you guys so much. Big shout out to anybody in venomsport.com, Aliki, right? She's absolutely amazing. Anybody want undersuits or t-shirts? This is a t-shirt that she actually sent me, a custom shirt. It's actually my favorite shirt that I actually own. Absolutely amazing. I got another friend that make undersuits too. I got a lot of friends that makes products, right? And yes, I give shout outs to people in the same in the same companies, right? So another one is 64 Degree Racing, my man Tate makes some of the most best undersuits you can get on the market. Again, you're not going to go wrong by ordering from any one of these. It's basically like pick your style, whatever personality suits you the best, right? Just like I got people that make graphics, like my good buddy Gus Rodeo, GRG Design. So anybody need graphics done, or REB graphics, or drip and wet graphics, right? All three of these are my friends. Main thing is support the business. Keep it in the business. If you need any motorcycle parts, merch, whatever it is, don't order it off of Amazon, Temu, none of that. Keep it in the industry. I know a lot of people. I know Jasmine knows a lot of people. So if there's anything you guys or girls need, please reach out. Let us know. We'll point you in the right direction. And again, Corner Marshal Workers, thank all you guys and girls so much. Next year, Moto America, they're actually looking for corner marshal workers. I got a bunch of info on it. So if anybody is interested in doing it, please hit me up. I can get you out there. You guys have the best seats in the house, meet the most amazing people, and it's an absolutely proper mega time. Why would you not want to do it, right? And if anybody's going to be at Daytona next weekend, please stop by, say hi to me. Me and Andy, me and Kenny will be running around after we do the commentating thing. We'll be out there running around doing videos. You cannot miss me. Trust me. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah, Jasmine, tell everybody where they can find you on social media. Oh, one more thing, real quick. I always forget about this. I figured out a way. It used to take like the next day before I could release it on Spotify and Allheart and all that good stuff. So, if you
Mhm.
guys come in, listen to this halfway through, as soon as I end this video, you can immediately go back to my YouTube or my personal Facebook and re-listen to this. Or if you give it about 15 minutes, it'll be out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all that. And I'll tag you on all the socials and all that good stuff too, as well. So, yeah, Jasmine, the microphone is all yours. Tell everybody where they can show you all the love and support. Do you have any merch for sale and where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys can find me on Instagram and Facebook, teampanda.racing. Also got a website, same thing, teampanda.racing, just to make it easy across the board. There is some merch on the website. It has not been updated. That is currently being worked on. Um, but everything's super easy. Teampanda.racing. Otherwise, for supporters and sponsors, love to give a shout out to Sport Moto Racing, Superbike Supply, D Sport, Forma Boots, of course, Venom. Can't leave out a leaky. Derek Keys, he does a great job helping me set up the bike, understand the suspension, really appreciate them. The Kettlesons, they've just really helped us understand the bike.
Those
And
are my peoples right there. Let's
exactly,
go. Yeah.
really, really great people. And of course, my family. So
Yep.
yeah, super, super appreciative of everyone, especially friends at the track.
110%. Huge fan of Dean and Brendan. Funny, I met Brendan for the first time this year. I've had him on my podcast several times.
Mhm.
It's one thing I love about my sport is our sport is all the friends that I have. I love watching and reading the social media posts and cheering all my
Mhm.
friends on and racing, right? And in the friendships you make, and fast forward, I mean, we've been friends for 3-4 years or whatever. So
Mhm.
he's with Orange Cat, traveling around with Orange Cat, and I was at VR when we finally got to meet. And I remember standing over there talking, and I hear this voice, and I was like, "Man, I recognize that voice." And it was Brendan. It was nothing but all. It was
That's
absolutely,
awesome.
absolutely one of the best times. And I took a picture, and I texted his dad. I was like, "Bro, look who I got this picture with." He's like, "Yes, finally, you guys got to meet." So yeah, it's
That's
yeah,
great.
absolutely amazing. Kenny says real quick, he says, "I'm usually pretty colorful, but with all your color, I'm thinking I need to tone it down for this." It's hilarious. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute honor to sit down with the legend and an honor to call friend, Jasmine Nichols. Thank you so much. You guys stay tuned. Part two will be coming up. It'll be a couple months, but we'll let you know when we'll schedule it because we're going to do it here in a minute. And yeah, if you guys are going to make it out to Daytona, don't forget, stop by, say hi. I got a lot of friends out there racing. Matter of fact, most of my friends are going to be out there racing. Make sure you get all the pictures, all the autographs, show all my friends all the love. It means a whole lot to them. Yeah, and on that note, we're out of here. Jasmine, you got anything to say for I end this?
I do not. Thank you all for showing up.
Yeah, thank you guys and girls. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Just stay on with me for a second, okay?
Calling all two-wheel enthusiasts, get ready to rev up your earbuds with Pin the Gas Podcast, the ultimate motorcycle racing podcast, hosted by Chris Simcoe, one of our very own excellent leaders here in Roanoke, Virginia. With expert analysis, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive writer interviews, Pin the Gas Podcast delivers the adrenaline rush of the racetrack straight to your ears. Whether you're a diehard fan or a curious newcomer, you'll gain insights that will transform how you watch and understand motorcycle racing. On your favorite podcast app, join Simcoe as he takes you on a high-speed journey through the world of motorcycle racing. Pin the Gas Podcast.
All right. What'd you think?